I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one who expected. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the new Who, Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. We're doing a proper podcast once again, Harry. How do you feel about that?
It feels pretty fantastic to jump back into the Ninth Doctor's tenure one more time, just to kind of do real justice to one of his best stories.
Yeah, because we've done Dalek before, but the whole audio recording was a shambles. It didn't work very well. We didn't really get a chance to say what we wanted to say. Well, I think I did, but I know you didn't.
Well, yeah, I've managed to kind of squeeze in bits and pieces kind of throughout the series, just about Dalek or stuff kind of adjacent to Dalek. But yeah, I mean, I could talk like days ago about Dalek because it's just such it's probably my favorite Doctor Who episode, my favorite story. Yeah, or at least joint first with Empty Child and Doctor Dances.
Yeah, I agree. I think on our lists when we did our Series 1 recap, it came within the top 3.
Yeah, on both our lists. I think it was your number 3 and it was my number 1.
Yeah, so average out at number 2.
Yeah.
Maths. Anyway, did you rewatch it before we decided we're going to redo this?
No, I did not.
No, I haven't rewatched it either.
I mean, I feel like it's because it's always a test to see kind of how great this story is by how much you remember.
No, I agree.
I heard once someone told me that for a film to be thought of as kind of passable, you need, I think, 3 great scenes and no bad ones.
Yeah.
And, I think that could probably be translated for TV. So for a TV episode to work, you need kind of 1 or 2 great scenes and no bad ones. And Dalek definitely has more than a couple of great scenes. There's so many great scenes. Like when I think of kind of my favorite Doctor Who moments, at least I can off the top of my head, I can already think of 3 standout moments from this episode alone. And the more I think about it, the more comes back to me. Just Dalek's just whenever I watch it, it really sticks with me because there's so much. Yeah.
One that always sticks with me is the end, the very end scene with Rose giving the Dalek the sunlight.
Yeah.
I always remember that. I don't know why. I think it's because Billy gives a really good performance in this. I always feel like when she was cast, she was just like a 20-something pop star, and maybe people were a bit like, "Why are they casting a singer?" But I feel like this episode really, for God's sake. But I feel like this episode really sort of cements those ideas that Russell clearly had to why she would be good in the series. Had she acted before this?
Was Diary of a Call Girl before or after Doctor
That was
Who?
after, I believe.
Then
I'm just looking on her.
I'm not sure. Probably.
I'm just looking on her.
I couldn't say.
IMDb page. Let's go right to the bottom. 1996 was her first gig in something called The Leading Man. She played Girl, uncredited.
She was
and
uncredited.
then there's a load of her music videos. Walk of Life, Something Deep Inside, Day and Night, Honey Bee. She was in Thank ABBA for the Music. She Wants You original version. Girlfriend, Because We Want to. What else was she in? Shakespeare Retold. And then she was in Doctor Who.
So nothing particularly significant for Doctor Who was her first big acting gig.
Well, on her IMDb, it says Doctor Who Children in Need Special before Doctor Who's actually listed. So what is this? Rose must learn
Is
to
that-
accept the Doctor in his new regenerated form. For some reason, they've put Born Again before her actual first series of Doctor Who, which is strange.
That's very strange.
Yeah, we'll do Born Again at some point.
Yeah, I'll
Probably
definitely
around Christmas
want to
time.
get in.
Yeah. So I really wanted to redo this episode because I know you have some thoughts on Dalek that we didn't really get to talk about. So
Yeah.
do you want to just take the field and we'll just see where it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main things, I can't remember how much of this we talked about originally, but I think it's I think I hit a lot of the main stuff in terms of those actual story moments, those great scenes, or the ones that stood out to me. I think kind of the things that I probably wanted to go over in more depth was just kind of the basic stuff when it came to reintroducing the Dalek to the general public, which they did so well.
Yeah, I remember an interview with producer Julie Gardiner, I believe her name is, and she was like, okay, so we open with the series, we're obviously going to put the Daleks in episode 1, and Russell was like, no, you've got to put the Daleks episode 6 because it's halfway through the series and people are going to keep watching until we give them the Daleks. And if you give them a good Dalek story halfway through, they will then watch the rest of the series. If you give them episode 1, people are going to watch it and go, oh, there was a Dalek story, I've kind of seen it now. So
Wow, really?
yeah.
Julie plans to put the Daleks in, wanted the Daleks in the...
She wanted them pretty early on, I think.
Has that ever been done? Well,
Series 2, no.
Well, I guess...
Series 3, no.
Series 7 just starts with the Daleks, Asylum of the Daleks, doesn't it?
And so does Peter Capaldi's second to last series with Davros, The Magician's Apprentice.
Oh, yeah. And then also, I think the pilot has like a Dalek in for 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I think you've said that before, yeah, just in the background or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, just because, got to keep that license.
I'd love to talk to someone about that. I don't understand what the license is.
Something Terry Nation, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so what is it about the introduction of the Daleks that you really felt sort of worked?
Well, first of all, I feel like it's kind of, they kind of reintroduced kind of each element of the Dalek and kind of reintroduced it in a way that kind of, because at the point that the show came back, Daleks kind of in the general public's eye was something that was quite, silly. It become kind of a point of satire, these great space dustbins that kind of roll around with their whisks and plunges.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's almost like they became a parody, didn't they? Sort of put the Daleks in, that'll get a laugh.
I mean, even in the show itself, I got to the point where I just push Daleks around. Isn't there like a Davison story where we just push a Dalek out the window?
Yeah, I'm gonna look and see what that is. Yeah. Dalek pushed out of window. It is Resurrection of the Daleks.
All right.
I'm gonna watch it. I don't think I've ever seen this clip. I'm sure I have at some point. Let me give it a quick watch. 12 seconds long. That's literally what I expected. It's literally he just pushes a Dalek straight out the window. It lands on his head.
Yeah. So I think for me,
or yours? Did everyone hear that?
That was on my. I think that was on my end. I'll just close my. I'm sorry. I've closed my Facebook. So yeah, I think the first thing that you initially see that kind of is reintroducing Daleks is that they've actually obviously got a new, now iconic redesign, which is actually, alien and threatening. No longer is it this silly bumpy dustbin, but they've kind of reworked it in a way that looks very kind of alien and more armored and creepy. I don't know. Have we already talked about at any point during this series our thoughts on what the Daleks themselves look like?
I don't think we might have done briefly. We can talk about it again. I really like them. I really think this is a solid design. Obviously, it's one that's stayed because in Series 5, when they tried to redesign it, it didn't work.
Yeah. And so it's definitely one that kind of has been stuck with throughout all the Russell era, all the Moffat era. Although Moffat made a lot of kind of references to different Dalek designs.
Yeah, I know in Magician's Apprentice we get Supreme Dalek, we get Dalek Sec, we get a lot of Hartnell Daleks, a lot of 80s Daleks. We get a lot of them appear.
Did you say Dalek Sec was in Magician's Apprentice?
I think he is, yeah. He's my favourite.
Yeah, I remember that. It'd be a bit weird for Dalek Sec to be there, considering, you know, where he ends up. That would be, I'm guessing that would be Dalek Sec before the, what they call the Cult of Sorrow.
Yeah. Dalek Sec, Magician's Apprentice. I might be wrong. I think he's there. Oh, yeah, he is, yeah.
That's so weird.
Well, it's just labelled as Black Dalek, but it's very clearly...
You thought Capaldi would have been like, Dalek Sec, be careful about the Cult of Scarro or something.
Yeah. You're going to become a human. Watch out. Yeah, this is Dalek Sec. For those who don't know, I'm just sharing my screen with Harry. There, that's him, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, that's undeniably. Unless they just have other random black Daleks other than Dalek Sec.
That's him from his first appearance.
Yeah.
And there he is again. It's him.
I mean, yeah, I can't see how that could be interpreted as anything but Dalek Sec.
Yeah, he's my favourite Dalek. I like the fact that Cult of Scarra, they all have names. This one doesn't have a name, does he? I don't think we ever see him again.
No, he doesn't. No, we don't. Yeah, I mean, do most Daleks don't have names, do they? Because there's that whole thing that they all want to be like genetically like exactly the same, like one kind of hive mind. So I guess the idea of introducing individuality with names such as Dalek Sec and Dalek Khan goes against that.
Do you reckon you could name all of the Cult of Scarra Daleks?
I only know Dalek Sec and Dalek Khan because Sec's the clever one and Khan's the one that goes crazy.
See if I can give it a shot. Dalek Khan, Dalek Sec, Dalek Faye. How many is there?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Dalek Just, I think, or Fust or something.
There's only 4 of them, aren't there?
I'm going to have a quick look. I'm going to have a Googs. The Cult of Scarra names. Dalek Sec, Dalek Faye, Dalek Khan, and Dalek Jest. Oh, yeah. I pretty much got them all.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, actually, now I think I'd probably prefer like the black Dalek design over the bronze one. Maybe it's just that I'm a bit fatigued by a bronze one by how much we've had it.
No, I remember seeing that Cult of Scarra episode and thinking, that one looks so cool. And it's always been my favorite design. Even in the trailer for Daleks, the animated series we're getting, there's a black Dalek in that has like red highlights on it. And that just looks superb. It looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, I do find it curious that they have kind of stuck so rigidly to the bronze Dalek design even after all these years. Maybe just feel that it's iconic at that point, so the change would be weird. Or maybe it's because of episodes that are so good, such as this one, and then the Parting of the Ways, that because these Daleks are associated with such good stories that they worry that changing them will kind of be like, this isn't
maybe if you're going to change the look of a Dalek, you then have to really put that in a good episode. Yeah. Not to say that, what was it? What was the Christmas special called? Revelation?
Yeah, Revelation.
Revelation.
No, was it Resolution? It was Resolution.
Whatever it is. The most recent Jodie, the first Jodie special. Not to say that wasn't a good episode, because I've only seen it the once, so I can't really pass judgment. But I like that Dalek design. I think it's good, but I feel the episode could have been better to support the design, and therefore the design would have featured better connotations because of the episode that it was in.
I mean, really, I've noticed kind of a bit of a trend in New Who, at least, that every time they try and redesign a Dalek, there's almost a reintroduction of who the Daleks are. Obviously, Dalek here is introducing the Daleks, and you could argue that Victory of the Daleks is a reintroduction of sorts.
That's series 5. That's the Winston Churchill one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And really, when Matt Smith his doctor first encounters those Daleks, he reacts in quite a similar way to Eccleston does in this story. He's very aggressive.
Nuts,
he doesn't grab something and just starts whacking the Dalek.
Yeah, what does he hit with? I want to say cricket bat, but surely there wouldn't have been a cricket bat in a World War II. hideout. Matt Smith attacking Dalek.
It might just be like a crowbar or like a lead pipe or something.
Yeah, it might be. Let's have a look. Oh, I can see a few screenshots. I can't see what's in his hand. Oh, it is. It's just like some lead piping. Yeah. But no, I remember that. It'd be interesting to get into those episodes because I remember when those episodes came out and I was like, what's going on here? I was like, why is he attacking them? I was like, he's never done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes close to blowing this one up in this story, but yeah.
What do you think to that scene then, that end scene? Because it's my favourite part of the episode. It's the moment that really stands out for me.
There's kind of like 3 scenes in this episode that kind of stand out as like the big highlights to me. And that's definitely one of them. Just that 3-way confrontation between a Doctor, Rose, and a Dalek. And kind of, obviously, the Doctor has all this history of the Daleks. He associates them with, the reason that his race is gone, the reason he's the last Time Lord. There's a lot going on for him there. And there's Rose, who's kind of unfamiliar with all of that, and kind of her perception of the Daleks contrasted with his kind of really kind of does the thing that companions do when they're at their best, which is ground the Doctor and makes them kind of check themselves. Like that moment after Rose.
Sorry, go on. I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, after Rose kind of asks the Doctor, like, he's changed, what have you changed into? Just the Doctor's just defeat a response there where he tries to think of what to say, but all he can think to say is they're all dead.
Yeah.
Like his moment of defeat, this moment where he's just probably the most vulnerable he is throughout his whole run. And that always really connects with me.
Yeah, he's sort of like I think it's the most... There's times in this series where we see the Ninth Doctor worn down and defeated, but he doesn't show it to others. Not the Parting of Ways, Bad Wolf. No, it's a Parting of Ways where he's face to face with the TARDIS door, and you can just hear all the Daleks shouting "exterminate," but he doesn't show it to everybody else. Whereas in this one, it's like quite an open scene where he's just like, "What am I doing?" sort of thing.
Yeah. Like he's completely just lost himself in that moment.
No, yeah, definitely. And, sorry, if anyone can hear that, I just kicked my bin just out of reach because I kept kicking it. I'm not just having a mad one. This episode's really good. It introduces the character of Adam, which
that's right,
hangs around for another episode. I feel we've exhausted Adam. He's a good character in this episode. Does the character need to carry on in the TARDIS? Maybe not. I don't feel there was a need for him to join for that one episode. Do you?
I think even in this episode, you could probably remove Adam Mitchell and it wouldn't really impact anything.
What does he do? Does he just supply the Doctor with that gun and that's it?
Yeah, and the Doctor probably didn't need that. He probably could have just been like, show me all your weapons and like grab one. I guess it gives a reason for Rose. I guess it gives a reason for Rose to be separate from the Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no. Actually that's a good point. Like, yeah. Otherwise, none of the episode would have actually happened.
Yeah, because if Rose had been with the Doctor when the Doctor first encountered the Dalek, he would have explained to her, what it was and why he was reacting the way he was.
Yeah.
And he probably would have reacted in quite the way he would have reacted had Rose been there to keep him in check. The fact that for most of the story, the Doctor and Rose are separate means that kind of the Doctor doesn't have Rose kind of anchor him. And so he does really have the capacity to go to those dark places. Like in that scene, when he first encounters the Dalek, like, first of all, he allows himself to be in a state of total fear.
Yeah.
And the fact that's the first reaction we get to the Daleks is one of like, from our brave, composed hero, we see him like so fearful, like banging at the door, screaming to be let out. And then for him to go from that to a place of real kind of malice and mockery and disdain at this Dalek, like no remorse at all.
This is one thing I've always found with the Daleks is, apart from this episode, whenever they seem to appear, I have very little fear for them or sense how dangerous they are. This is the only time they appear, and I go, "Ooh," because you see the Doctor's actual reaction to that. And the only time that's come close to this is when we knew the Daleks were coming back for the Jodie Whittaker Christmas special, because it had been quite a while since we'd seen them, so it wasn't like Dalek episode. It was like, oh, we're not actually going to get a Dalek episode this year, and there it was, and it worked quite well.
Yeah. And that was a cool reintroduction as well, but we'll get to that when we get.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Because I haven't rewatched it. I kind of feel like this is just your thing.
Well, those two scenes, like I said, 3 scenes. I think the third scene, which for me really stands out, is the iconic "Why don't you just die?"
I don't recognize it. How does he say it?
The bit where the Dalek like kills all the soldiers, electrocutes them, and like he's talking to the Doctor over like that intercom, and he's like, "Why don't you just kill yourself? Rid the world of your species. Why don't you just die?" And then the Dalek says, "You would make a good Dalek." And that's just one of the best exchanges because it's so simple. It says so much.
I feel they've tried to do that before. I feel like there's been attempts where they've tried to do it since. In the Stolen Earth, where Davros points out to the Doctor how many people have died in your company. And there's that flashback, even including Jabe from episode 2. And it just shows all these characters that have been in the Doctor's life since 2005 that have died.
Yeah. And there's also the more explicit one. I think, was it the what was it called, the episode with Capaldi in series 8 where he goes inside the Dalek, Rusty, and changes
into the Dalek.
Yeah, and at the end of that, I think Rusty just says, "You are a good Dalek."
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of plays off Davros's joke in The Magician's Apprentice, where Davros is really ill, and the Doctor says, "Oh, you are actually ill, aren't you?" And Davros goes, "You aren't a good doctor," as a joke. Like, you can't even tell I'm seriously ill.
Yeah. That's a bit weird of a scene thinking back, like the Doctor and Davros are just like hanging out in a room, quite just having that conversation.
How long?
No, I don't know.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, I don't know how the Doctor and Davros interacted back in Classic Who. But like when he appeared for the first time in New Who, he was kind of painted as this kind of like super villain scientist guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's accurate to how he usually is.
I know. How long do you think they should go before reintroducing these characters? Because I feel with the Master...
Davros or the...
Well, with the Master, I feel that it's getting to the point where it's like we've had the Master in nearly every series since Capaldi took over. And not to say that Michelle Gomez or Sacha Dwyer aren't fantastic actors and they bring their own thing to the role, but the sort of the thing of going, "Oh my God, the Master's back," is like, it's not really there as much. And it was 20 years from last seeing Davros. In 1988, we saw Davros, in 2008, then 2015. So it's been 5 years since we've last seen Davros, and I still think it's too soon
to reintroduce him.
Yeah, I think you got to give it about 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's... The way they had handled the Master in New Who was kind of every other Doctor had a Master. So Eccleston didn't have a Master, Tennant did, Matt Smith didn't have a Master, Capaldi did, although Jodie does now.
Yeah.
And it was it's the same pattern with kind of Davros, like Eccleston didn't meet Davros, Tennant did, Matt Smith didn't meet Davros, Capaldi did. So I feel like we're probably in the latter half of Jodie's run now. And I feel like we probably won't see Davros with her.
Not even in the last, because we think that they're going to do 3 Dalek Christmas specials.
Yeah.
So don't you think we'll see him in the last Dalek Christmas special?
Oh, I don't know. It depends. It kind of judges... I have to see this next Dalek Christmas special to see kind of if there's what kind of narrative they're telling with them. Because I don't think
that Dalek animated series.
That's a question. I feel like because of the budget they're working with, I feel like they've deliberately chosen non-human or humanoid characters to center it around.
Yeah.
So solely because of that, I think they won't. And also, I feel like, from my understanding of the Daleks don't really think that much of Davros, and they kind of think that they're superior to their creator.
Yeah.
I'd rather have another Dalek lead them than Davros.
Yeah. It's usually the Supreme Dalek.
Yeah.
Big red dude.
Hmm.
What do you think to like the different characterizations of the Daleks then? Because I like the fact that they've got different sort of rankings. You sort of have like the armored ones. You have sort of what I would call gun fodder, which is just like the standard bronze ones. And then you have Davros, Supreme Dalek. You sort of have these levels.
It's an interesting one. Because in a way, having more individuality for Daleks kind of goes against what the Daleks represents. Like every time you see kind of like Daleks with individuality, the Doctor's always like, "Ha ha, you're becoming what you hate. You're becoming individual and different from each other." Although as a viewer, it kind of, it adds kind of color to the literally and metaphorically to the Daleks for them to have all these different factions and personalities. And also it's fun to see Nicholas play different versions of Daleks to see what you can do.
No, I love Nick Briggs. I think he's brilliant. I always wonder is there anybody after Nick Briggs who could do it?
Well, I feel like technically yes, because really it's just a voice modulation thing with a certain intonation. But something, and this kind of even comes back to this episode, obviously, Nicholas Briggs isn't the first ever Dalek voice. I've heard different Dalek voices in Classic Who, but I feel like I'm not even kind of biased or nostalgia blind when I say that Nicholas Briggs's Dalek voice is the Dalek voice.
Yeah, it's what people know now, isn't it?
He owns it every time.
Yeah. If it was to change, I feel how much of that is also to do with the fact that he's just also a great ambassador for the show through Big Finish and everything else. He's just full Doctor Who. Obviously, Nicholas Briggs' dream, I think, is to be Doctor Who showrunner. That's what he wants.
Do you think? Because I feel like he's so busy and involved. Because was he one of the founders of Big Finish?
Yeah, maybe not now, but I think back in the day, that's what he was aiming for.
I don't know, because I feel like he has such I feel like now, from what I can gather, he has such an attachment to Big Finish that he would never want to leave that for the main show. I know. What do you think of a Nick Briggs showrunner for the main series? Would you be in favor of that? Or?
I think it would be good. I have some thoughts on Big Finish that I'll save for a Big Finish episode, but I wouldn't want to direct my negative thoughts of Big Finish at Nick Briggs because I'm not sure how much of that is Nick Briggs' fault, if you know what I mean. It seems to me that a lot of Big Finish, if they can put the Daleks in it, they'll put the Daleks in it, even if people would rather have something else. But then again, I can't. How much of that is Nick Briggs, or how much of it is?
That's something I can't comment on. I've not listened to enough Big Finish to know whether or not the Daleks are oversaturated within Big Finish.
By the time this episode comes out, though, we will have already announced that we will be talking to Genetics of the Dalek Big Finish writer Jonathan Morris towards December time, so that'll be exciting. So maybe we can ask him. Yeah,
we can ask about how it's decided which monsters are used, or whether Daleks.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a case of they go, okay, we want a story with the 10th Doctor and the 4th Doctor and Daleks. Off you go.
Yeah.
Or they just go, what have you got?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a mixture of who you can get to record, or if it's not a recording session, or if it's not a full cast audio, who you can get to, or what licenses you need. Because from what I understand, the Daleks, the license for the Daleks is still a Terry Nation estate thing, not owned by the BBC. So I think, well, most things the BBC is happy to license out to Big Finish. There are certain things which they don't. But I don't think that Big Finish can ever use the current incarnation of the Doctor.
No, I don't think
Is
they
that
can.
right?
I think there's a license. Like, I don't really think they can use Smith yet either. I know they've done 11th Doctor. They've done 11th Doctor stories, but they've never done any with Matt Smith.
So I feel like they have the license to use Matt Smith. I don't know if they have the license to use Capaldi because I've not seen.
I don't think so. I think I've heard. I think I read online that they don't have the license for that yet.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, just a second. Got a phone call from my mum.
I'll pause this. Harry, stop eating biscuits. It's so unprofessional. You leave for a phone call, now you're eating biscuits. Now you're standing up. This is a shambles. I want to redo Dalek. I get to say what I like about the Daleks. We've got to do it again. And he messes it up for us all. You quite ready?
Yep.
So, on that note, we'll wrap this episode up. Yeah, we kind of I know I didn't really speak much. I didn't really have anything to say because I haven't rewatched Dalek, and I feel if I did rewatch it, I would have just reiterated a lot of the stuff I said in the original episode. What was you going to say?
I mean, yeah, but I'm satisfied. I feel like I got my Dalek fill. I've talked about why I like Dalek so much.
Yeah. Cool beans. So we'll wrap it up. We've got some cool, fun, exciting episodes coming out. As mentioned, we're going to be interviewing Big Finish writer Jonathan Morris about genetics of the Dalek. By this point, all upcoming interviews will have been announced. So we have Albert Valentine, that will already be out. Libby, the amazing artist, that will already be out, I think. What else is there? Daniel Evans, theatre director and Doctor Who actor, that will be coming out around December. We don't have a date for that yet. We don't have a date for Jonathan Morris and Brian Mattox, the Doctor Who collector. That's out already for you to listen to.
Already uploaded.
Yeah, that one's already out. Yeah, so some will already be out by the time this one comes out. So that'd be exciting. But that's the list so far. I think I'm going to hold off on any more interviews for that will come out in the year 2020. Possibly get some for 2021. See how COVID goes.
Yeah, maybe there'll be enough like big people in lockdown who are willing to interview.
Yeah, maybe we could interview.
Or if not, I could whip out my some of my iconic perfect impressions, and you could just interview them.
Yeah, good concept. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I probably won't. So I'll say.
Wait till you hear my.
What was that, sorry?
Wait till you hear my David Tennant, both Scottish and
you have to wait till Christmas. What a Christmas treat for everyone. So I'll say goodbye when I say bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Harry?
Yeah, thank you for watching. Hit that bell, hit that download, hit that like, hit that comment.
Leave a 5-star review on iTunes.
Absolutely. Send in emails because I was so excited that one time we got an email in. Not that we got it on tape.
Yeah. Do you want to say bye?
Yeah. Yep. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official
Bigger on the Inside podcast.